One of the most common questions we get is about emotional eating. Mm-hmm. And you handle it very well. Not that you handle emotional eating well, but you handle talking to people, dealing with people about it much better than I do.
I don't know about that.
So let's set the stage, because this is deeper than just eating, but it always for us kind of comes back to relating it to eating.
Yeah.
So let's set the stage. We're driving in the car. Roz is upset because she has to go on chores with me. I drag her with me because I want to spend time with her. And we're both very ADD.
Yeah.
We multitask, which in turn means we do nothing really well, but many things poorly.
I hate multitasking, by the way.
So I'm driving.
And whilst he's driving, he's decluttering his car.
Well, you're handling your productivity journal, so I'm bored because you're not paying attention to me, and I start to declutter the center console of my Prius.
Yeah.
Things I'm gonna throw away. I have bags of change. I said, Roz, can you consolidate these bags of change? And a broken watch was in there, a wooden heart that I don't know where it came from, and then came about a lighter.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And Roz is like, why do you have a lighter? You don't smoke or do anything, anything manly where you would need fire. And
you're never more than 3 miles away from Chipotle.
Right. So
you're not going out and cooking something.
I explained to her the story of this lighter and what it signified to me. It had to do with the past relationship and this and that and etc. But lo and behold, the lighter, signified to me, to not be in a relationship like that. And the reason I had a lighter was because the lighter was at one point thrown at me, and I picked it up and I was like, okay, let's never do this again. And as she hears it, I think I've kind of told you the story a little bit before.
Yeah. It was just interesting because Jay told me this story again, and it just got me thinking about times when I'm crazy because, I can be a little crazy sometimes. We all can. I'm female.
Far less than the average female.
But it made me think about this weekend. It was a little chaotic and hectic. We had a ton of family and friends in town for our engagement party. And it was a lot of fun, but I also had a really, really bad neck. We'd done some workout last week. I was carrying 200 pounds on my back and obviously was straining my neck throughout the entire workout and hadn't realized. So I was in a lot of pain come Saturday, and everything was frantic, and we were at Jay's mom's house, and I was just feeling these vibes, and I was like, oh God, and the decorations weren't quite how I wanted it, and I was about to have a bit of a bridezilla moment, I guess you can call it, because the banner wasn't hanging where I was thinking that I wanted the banner. And Jay took me aside and he was like, babe, just whatever you want, tell me where you want the banner, I'll put the banner where you want, but in 3 months' time, you're not even going to remember this banner. Whatever. The point was, as soon as he'd said to me, I'll put the banner wherever you want, I really did not give a shit about this banner anymore. That was like, that's what's important. It's just the fact that we love each other and we're here celebrating our engagement and loving each other. And the banner is really insignificant when you put it like that. So,
well, thank you.
Yeah, so when we were having this discussion in the car, and I remember this moment, and he made me get to this point where I could just all of a sudden be very objective and rational and look at the situation and realize what was the bigger picture, what was truly going on at that moment in time. Was it really the banner that was annoying me, or was it just everything on top of everything, my neck and being a little out of sorts?
Your mother staying with us, my mother being a lunatic.
Yeah, and really that's all it was. I was just a little high-strung from a combination of lots of different things, which happens in life. And in reality, I really didn't care about the banner. I just cared that about spending time with you and enjoying a day with you. So, but it was great to be able to have that moment of clarity and ability to be able to be objective and rational. And I think that's really hard for a lot of us when it comes to, we can apply that in many areas of life. And for a lot of us, it's really hard when it comes to food, especially emotional eaters. So we were talking about how we can have that similarity. There's those moments where everything's on top of you, you can't quite figure out what one thing it is that's necessarily triggering you, but right then and there, you want to devour that pint of ice cream in the freezer, right? And I think it's really important to just take a moment, 20 minutes maybe even, but some time to try to rationalize through what is really driving you to have those feelings and try to look at it objectively and rationally and with some calmness and some compassion. Like, don't think, oh my God, I'm so disgusting, I want to eat a whole pint of ice cream, or I'm going to fail, and whatever thoughts are going through your head, it's fine. You're allowed to have them, write them down, but try to rationalize yourself through them a little, and maybe even ask yourself questions that a friend might ask you if you were sat there with someone at the time.
So let's do that.
Yeah.
Let's do that. And I think one thing you said in the car that was really good, in addition, was, and there's nothing wrong with 20 minutes later still wanting that fucking ice cream and eating it.
Totally. But if you spent 20 minutes thinking about it and reflecting about it, and maybe even you've gone for a little walk to try to clear your mind, the important thing is you've spent a little bit of time really trying to work through what is driving you to want to eat this ice cream. And if you still haven't gotten to the bottom of it and you still want to eat that ice cream, go ahead.
And it's no different than, relating it to real life again, where if you would have come to me 10 minutes later and thought about it more and said, no, I really do want that banner here.
Yeah.
Cool, let's move it.
Yeah.
But when you stopped and you're like, why do I want this? And let's role play, because I think this is something you touched on the other day with the 5 whys.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
So and I think every one of us has been there. Even as a man, I've been there emotionally. You get home and you're like stressed out. For me, it's not stress. It's tired. Mm-hmm. I'm tired. I've had a long day. I like to reward myself with food. Mm-hmm. So, but let's role play you, a woman. Okay. Imagine you open the refrigerator, the freezer. What do you see that you might, in the past, has made you feel this way with food?
I'm trying to think. Probably chocolates in the fridge maybe, or always when you open up the freezer and the ice cream catches your eye.
So then would you, a question you might have is, why do you want this ice cream? Mm-hmm. How would you answer that?
Well, I guess it depends. So, did I already go to the freezer because I wanted the ice cream?
I think
what are you talking about?
We actually just kind of simplified it even more. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that was it right there. Why do you want this?
Yeah.
That was enough. Because you started to think, and I started to think, and it was. Look, sometimes we mindlessly wind up at the freezer. Sometimes we purposely get up from the couch and wind up at the freezer. Yeah. But before you put that food in your mouth, obviously we would always tell you to track it. But if you're having one of those moments, those, effort moments, why am I eating this ice cream? Why do I want this ice cream? Yeah. And then we'll start to open the path.
I think that's great. A great question to ask yourself. And I think it's hard because a lot of the time in these situations, you're probably on your own. And that's why, with that example that I was giving from the weekend, it was so, you asked me where I wanted the banner, and just by doing that, it allowed me to start thinking, why or where do I want the banner, and why do I want to move the banner? And I think that's where...
I don't think I asked you why.
You asked me where, but it allowed me to then ask myself why, where do I want it? And because I had to question where, it was well, why do I want to move it there? So I think the challenging part is always going to be that most of these situations are going to come up when you're on your own. And it's important to try to, Jay actually talks to himself a hell of a lot, but maybe even vocalize those questions
I do?
to yourself. Yeah, he does. Do you not realize? You're always talking. He loves to talk, in case you hadn't noticed that. And he'll be asking questions, and I'm like, are you talking to me? He's like, no, I'm just talking to myself. Okay.
It's part of my genius, I guess.
Well, it works for you, I guess. But I think that it does help sometimes. Just vocalize that question. Why do I want this? Or what am I truly looking for in the bottom of this pint of ice cream? Is it 5
Happiness.
minutes
Happiness
of
at the
satisfaction and happiness?
And how will it make you feel after?
Well, exactly, because if you start asking yourself that question and you recognize, sure, I'm going to feel really good for about 5 minutes, but in 30 minutes time, am I going to feel really good? The answer is probably no. You're going to feel crappy about yourself if the reason you're going to the ice cream is to, I don't know, those emotional triggers, you know, that's what the cause is. All right, does that make sense?
I think it makes perfect sense. I think it's a challenging topic to just vocalize in 10, 11 minutes.
Yeah.
But really, you know, if you take anything from this video of us, it's if you stop and ask why, for many things in life, but certainly when it comes to food, it will give you a clearer picture of what's happening, why you're doing it, and what your next step should be.
Yeah, and I think talk to yourself like you're having a conversation with your best friend, right? Somebody, this isn't the judge inside your head saying, what the fuck are you doing, bitch? Put the ice cream back. This is a genuine question that your best friend might be asking you. Are you okay? Is there something up? Because I see you're looking for a big bowl of ice cream right now with whipped cream and chocolate sauce. So, try that tactic instead.